to share the Bulletproof Trust once more. Back up to here. Okay, so I'm going to go back through and start answering questions. Okay. Give me 1 second while I pull that up. Okay, that's where it starts. All right. Okay. So, Huberman asked, why can't the grantor be a family member? How can I access yesterday's video? Number one, I did explain they cannot be of consanguinity, bloodline. The reason for that is they may be seen as an in persona conjuncta or a grantor trust. It needs to pass the control test. That's the biggest reason. How can I access yesterday's video? Just reach out to the FFG coaches and they will be able to provide that for you. Hillary asked, how many trustees should we have? I suggest a minimum of 3. Like I said, odd number. But if you don't have 2 other people you can trust, I get it. I've been in those situations before. People have let you down. You only need 1, but for doing business in the public realm, if you're going to be running a business or doing anything like that, or taking in decent amounts of money, anything really over 6 figures a year, 6 figures and above a year, I suggest having multiple. The reason for that is the trust may get called in with another trust into court, and you don't want to be sitting there in front of a judge going, yeah, I represent trust A and I represent trust B. And then the judge goes, well, you're here because trust A and trust B had a fraudulent conveyance and we need to figure out if everything was above board. And since you're the only trustee, we don't think so. It's not passing my smell test. So that's the reason why we have that many. Does the trust name have to be a legal domain name? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. It can be any name, actually. You can even have multiple trusts in a sense. I don't suggest this, but say if we had a PWA trust, there could be 10 PWA trusts because they all have potentially a different grantor, a different board of trustees, and most especially a different identifier for them. I don't suggest that though. So always make as many different names as you can. Yvonne asked, can you use family members as a trustee? Yes, absolutely. You can use anybody you want. The only thing, I'm going to reiterate this the final time, is that you just don't want someone related to you, marriage, blood, relationship, etc., outside of being a friend or a neighbor, to be the grantor. Okay. Alea asked, are a lot of our questions answered inside the Private Wealth Academy trust in the documents? Yes. There's a reason why Carlton spent 30 years on this. There's a reason why all of the training together is about 500 pages long. There's a reason why we divvy it up and break it into sections. There's a reason why we don't give you everything at once so you don't have information overload. But absolutely, a lot of your questions are answered inside. In fact, almost everything that I've answered, every question, has already been answered inside. It just takes a lot of reading. So I'm just taking the time to make sure you get your answers immediately rather than having to dig through 200-300 pages of information. Janine, can your grantor be your live-in boyfriend? No, I don't suggest it. Not every court will rule against it, but some will, and I don't like taking chances. Jesse asked, Hillary asked, a trust fund consists of how many people? How many trustees, grantors, managers? Okay, so a trust will consist of 1 grantor, 1 trustee at the minimum, and 1 beneficiary. You have to have 3 parties. Now, of those 3 parties, the grantor can be a beneficiary or the trustee can be a beneficiary. So you can technically have 2 parties that are fulfilling 3 roles. The one thing you can never mix is a trustee and a grantor. They cannot be both grantor and trustee, or else it becomes a revocable trust, no protection granted. I do suggest, again, like I said, up to 3 trustees. Cherie asked, how do we view yesterday and today's call at a later time? Again, ask FFG. They'll be able to put you right on. Jesse, thank you for backing me up. That wasn't a question mark, but he said, Zach is 100% right about the zip code. Yes. Let me tell you, Carlton has done his research. And once you dig into even section 1 of trustee secrets, you'll see that he backs up over 200 different court cases about why he says every single sentence. We are very specific with our words here. We like to be as specific as possible. Ivy asked, I'm trying to get to the place where you are. I signed the member agreement, but can't find you in the presentation. The reason why is you may need to look, Ivy, at section 2. That's where the trust indenture is. I did delete a little bit out of section 2, so there's about 10 pages that precede it. The reason for that is I just wanted you guys to read it at your own schedule and own pace. And if I read through it, honestly, it would have led to more questions because you're hearing it for the first time. But if you actually reread those 10 pages over multiple times, I can almost guarantee you're going to become a virtual expert at trusts and trust execution. Linda asked, is this recorded? Yes.
Did this before. The trust. I'm saying to me, I mean, nobody has told me about it.
Mute your mic.
Please stay muted, everybody. I'm going to mute it, and Zachary, you'll have to unmute yourself again, please.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Jesse, I assume that was a question. UCC 301 or 308. That's I'm not familiar with the extension of 308, but yes, a UCC 1 is how you set up your trust web to ensure a certain level of security in case you ever go bankrupt from creditors. So you can actually walk away with all your money, just like the Kennedys did, and Trump, and a lot of other elites. But Paul, do we have to disclose to the grantor what is in our trust, or rather why we are opening the trust? Nope. All they need to know is what they're signing at the first initial term. If they choose to read it, they can. And if not, that's it. It's done. You don't have to let them know what additional things are exchanged inside of the trust. And even better, like I said, and I hope I made clear about 3 or 4 times, no reverter privileges for the grantor. So even if he wanted to get at something, he can't. Even if he wanted to reveal something to somebody, he can't. And if he does, he comes under some heavy things inside of the court of law. You can actually sue him for different types of, I apologize that I can't exactly remember the term, but the basic idea is that there was a damages, perceived damages done to the trust by revealing the things that were private non-privately. It's like ruining a do not disclose agreement. You know, if you work for the CIA and you tell things before your contract's up, well, they can actually kill you. You can't kill someone with this trust, but it just shows that there's a large amount of leeway and power with that.
Zachary.
Yep.
Just as an analogy that will maybe clarify this grantor trustee relationship. So if I want to set up a Bulletproof trust, and I find Mike, and Mike is going. I decide I like Mike. I've known Mike for a while. I can trust Mike. I want him to be my grantor. Exactly what would I tell him? And in terms of him granting something to the trust, exactly how would that work practically so that people understand this relationship?
Yeah, the best way to place it is that a grantor trust is considered by, for all intents and purposes, as a revocable trust and what's known as in persona conjuncta, which means it's like shaking hands with yourself. Did you actually do any business? Did you actually do anything? No. So the courts just want to simply be aware that full control and full ownership of the res inside of the trust was actually given up. If it was not, it instantly becomes revocable for all intents and purposes.
Actually, I may not have asked the question properly. What I'm basically talking about is that it's not the creation of a grantor trust, but just the relationship between the person who is going to be my grantor. And now I'm going to go talk to that person. What would I say to that person? And then how would they grant anything into the trust? Like what practically today, because we're not going to buy an ounce of gold or whatever. How exactly would they do that right now to get this done?
Yeah. So the best thing that I can say is obviously go to someone that you can talk to. You know, we used to have a joke that you could pay a hobo on on the streets and just simply go, hey, sign this as long as you got a government ID. It's honestly that simple. But if you actually go to someone you trust, you're just literally letting them know, I just want you to sign this paperwork. And the only thing that you're signing, you can read over it, take your time. You know, I'm going to give you a couple days. There's nothing that you're actually giving up inside of here. All you're doing is you're creating a trust for me to operate so that I can protect my assets. And if you'd like, you know, I can point you in the right direction. This is where everybody here, you can get paid $300 for every person you refer when they pay the full price of $997. So for referring 2 people, you made an extra $100 and paid for the trust that you just purchased. You can say, hey, I can show you where to get this and train you, and you can get the same protections just like this. And you just simply explain to them, all I'm trying to do is make myself more private in commerce. I'm just trying to protect myself so that when I die, I don't have to go to probate court for my family. You know, even if you don't have kids, my nieces, my nephews, somebody that you care about, you're just saying, I'm just protecting this. So instead of having a will, I was told to make a trust. And in order to have a trust, I need to have someone be the grantor who isn't family. And like I said, you're not giving anything. You could take a pen out of your desk and you can give them that pen and you can say, you know, John, all I'm asking you to do is sign with this pen that this trust is created, and you place this pen inside of that trust. You don't have to place any money inside. You don't have to do anything. You don't even ever have to think about it again. And you can even show him the section where it says, as the grantor, he's not responsible. There's nothing legally that is going to come back to bite him as well, because that's going to be some people's fears, understandably. And you just let him know you're absolved of everything because you have no control or ownership of anything in this trust. For you, your job's done. And that's it. I take care of everything from there and all the liability, although it doesn't actually. You just say, for his sake, all the liability goes on me as a trustee to make sure I operate this trust properly. And guess what? It's going to be my money in here, and it's for my family or for my kids. So I'm not going to do anything that's going to result in an issue.
So for our intents and purposes in this community, we could say to on one of our meetings, hey guys, I need a grantor. Can somebody help me out? And then they can find somebody in there who they can meet, or they can email, mail stuff to, whatever. And because now everybody here understands the purpose and the intent of what it's all about, it makes it very easy.
Exactly. And since you guys have a group like this, see, the biggest problem is people who are coming in that will watch my workshop and they're not buying as a group, they're buying individually. They don't know anybody else. You guys have the biggest step forward on the biggest issue, which is getting the grantor. So anybody in this other group that understands what they're doing, has purchased this product, they're going to easily say yes to being your grantor because they understand I have no legal liability when I sign as grantor. And guess what? The pen that you sent me inside of the mail, to sign this with, that's what I'm sending back as the trust res. So that's what creates the trust.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right. So Harold says, where's the section that states I as a head trustee cannot be voted out? We've actually allowed people to be voted out just in case But if you want to, you can create that right inside of the, it would be the Article 6, Powers of the Board of Trustees. So right here, I'm going to highlight that, Harold. And you would write that in for yourself, and you would say, head trustee may not be voted out and will always remain as head trustee. I would specifically state that the head trustee should be named by name in that section as well, that you can add in. So that way, if you pass away, whoever takes your position as head trustee doesn't rule with an iron fist like a dictator for your trust. Hopefully that answers that. All right. Huberman asked, what does that mean? 1 troy ounce of silver. It's just the official way of saying an ounce of silver. It doesn't have to be silver, guys. It can be a grain of sand. It can be a pen. It can be the shoe on your foot. It could be a drop of water. It doesn't have to be silver. We just do that because that's very well established and accepted among many communities as just using that. Okay. And then Robert said, if I was very wealthy, how would I use this trust? Is the family trust a good name? Yeah, family trust is good because it's very generic. It doesn't say who it's for. It doesn't sound like it's a specific individual, like a living trust. And if you were very wealthy, how you would use this trust? Well, if you were really wealthy, when you get to that point, you can actually have consulting with us. Again, it's still not legal or financial advice, but we would be able to help you navigate a little bit better in certain issues that you would use, because there is a variety of things that you can do when you come into large amounts of wealth. But if you're dealing with less than $1 million, the generic way this is set up is going to give you all the protections that you basically need. The complications usually come in when you're saying, okay, well, I want to invest in this and I want to own this company and I want this and I want that. And you have a lot of things juggled in the air at once. That's where we would be able to assist you in that operation. But for the most case, I think a lot of people here are going to understand that the way this trust is already set up is perfectly good for all your purposes and intents.
So Robert, I'm sorry, Zachary, the question that Robert asked is very apropos. I'll be talking to you a little bit later because we are talking about very, very large sums of money.
Okay.
So a lot of people will be reaching out to your organization.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. When that comes into play, you'll be setting up consultations either with myself or John or Sasha, and we'll be able to help you in that process. So yeah, there's, like I said, there's so many situations. I just don't want to get inundated with this one question because there's a variety of ways you can use this.
Excellent. Thank you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Diane asked, can a notary be a grantor? No. That's just, there's a lot of laws behind that. Why not? But that's a simple answer. Robert said, what is the key code to make changes in the document? As I explained earlier, you do not get edit access. You can download it and then edit it on your computer. Hillary asked, the trustee has to be over 18? Yes. In the US, 18 is the legal age where you can start representing yourself and you're not considered a ward of the state. Mark says, what form does this type of trust file? They won't be filing. That's kind of the beauty behind it. Now, if there is a level of income and a variety of reasons why that ends up happening, I can't remember the exact form, but you can just look up trust tax filing for the IRS, and it should come up. I think it's like an 1102 or something, but don't quote me on that one. Dolphin, I'm sorry. Margie, unfortunately, this was the visual audio of this. To make a PowerPoint wouldn't really be as good, so we did everything as much as we could. I hope that's okay with you. Okay, Dolphin said, once a member, we will be able to get step-by-step assistance in completing these forms. In the sense of if you just follow the instructions today and the instructions that we have in the video and inside the written training, that's your assistance. I'm just going to say this kind of like I said to Coach Cola. We don't want to complete these forms on your behalf. If we did, we would get hit with a UPL, unauthorized practice of law, so quickly that we would never be able to share this information with anybody ever again. We already have, in a sense, a target on our back because we're exposing things that the elites do. And we always end up checking with our attorneys on what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And unfortunately, one of those things is assisting the completion of these forms. Now, what we did today, like I said, you just watched me filling out my own trust. Okay. So I didn't fill out your guys' trusts. We're allowed to do that, but that's as far as that ability reaches, unfortunately, Dolphin. Even if you paid us $10,000, $100,000, we couldn't touch it for you. I apologize for that. We can't afford that. Hillary said, mismanaged funds. How does that work when it is your funds? That's there if you have multiple trustees. If they all of a sudden start buying sports cars with your money, that's called mismanagement of funds. So that would be one example, and you're just wanting to do that so that you protect yourself, so you have a reason to boot them off the board of trustees. So it's just kind of in there as a clause. Angela said, if I need additional help, who should I reach out to? First is going to be ticket support. Our support area is inside the members area. Let me just quickly share that with you. Looks like this. You click on support right there, and the support area is going to open up, and you can look through over 200 different articles that we've written, answering all these types of questions that we're even having right now. And if you don't find it for some reason, just send us a ticket. We'll get back usually in about 24 hours. And if you need even more assistance, kind of like what I believe Robert was talking about, then you can actually book a consultation for us. And that consultation will be down here. You can just click on one of the, I think, 30 or 60-minute consultations. It'll say restricted, and then it'll send you to the order form page in order to book that time. Okay. Okay, Diane says, where do you notate the reason for using money from the trust? That's in the minutes. So everything that's ever done, however you move, whatever you use for money, that's in the minutes. And all you got to do is just one sentence, $100 for blank, a TV, so that we could communicate through Apple TV or whatever it is. I don't know what you want to say. Hillary, the head of the trustee needs permission from the other trustees to purchase. No, they don't. That's one of the beautiful things. Now, the other beautiful thing is that you're probably not going to give every trustee who's sitting with you a debit card. And in fact, the head trustee is usually the only one who even has permission to access the bank accounts. So as head trustee, you do have a lot of protections from the other trustees mismanaging funds. I hope that gives an ease of mind for people. And Dolphin, hopefully you didn't get you felt overwhelmed with the amount of forms. It really is easy. It's just filling in the blanks for those things I replaced. I know I spent a lot of time today, I think about an hour and a half, almost going over through everything. But at the end of the day, it's just the trust indenture, and then the appointment of the trustee, and then the oath of office. Those are the only three things you need to fill out. And that can all be done sitting down with a notary, usually in about 15, 20 minutes. Opening the bank account takes a little bit more time. All you guys will figure that out, but they treat you very special after that. So it's not like opening a normal bank account, which takes 45 minutes. It usually takes about an hour and a half. Expect to be spending some time sitting in that seat, because the attorneys need to read over everything that's going on inside of that trust indenture to make sure that, for some reason, because they're a party, in a sense, a third party to that, they want to make sure that they're not getting screwed in some way. Outside of that, when you're talking with the banker, keep it very light. Don't explain what the trust is for, what you're doing, etc. Just keep it on personal matters. I like Cancun. Do you like Cancun? Things like that. Who Uberman asked, if I have to justify an expense I make from the trust, how can it be said that I control everything? You control everything because you do control it. It's just that you want unlimited freedom between that. And it's just like saying, well, you just have to have a light, very light justification. If I chose to hire your legal team, would that be possible? No, because our legal team only operates within one state specifically. So you're probably in a different state. And with that being said, if you go through our help desk support center, you can actually type in recommended attorneys or lawyers, things like that as a keyword. We don't have a complete list, but for almost every state, we do have a lot of trust attorneys. Now, many of these have come from suggestions of other students. They are mainly statutory trust attorneys, but they can still help you with how to operate a trust, how to be a good trustee, things like that. Probably most of the common answers that you have. And Dolphin said, could there be a review of benefits of membership in creating a trust? And couldn't I just print out the form and complete myself? Yes, that's actually the whole idea, Dolphin, is to print out the form and complete it yourself. But I don't quite understand what you mean by review of the benefits. I hope I went over that yesterday. Let's see. Okay. And then Marie said, I already paid and created an EIN, but not with the trust. Can I still use that EIN? No. Just go through the process again. It takes 10, 15 minutes, Marie. It's going to be worth it so that you actually qualify yourself under the proper, because they issue a specific code to you under your EIN. You don't realize it because it looks like just a random string of numbers, but it actually tells the IRS, hey, this is a trust, it's irrevocable, and at least puts them in a category. So if attorneys ever have to handle or deal with a specific EIN, they know where to send it to which department. That's why. Oh, okay. Looks like we're getting through most of them. I do apologize for the wait. We're just sorting through a few more of these things. Okay, for Doris, after I paid $497, I called support with a question. I was asked for a credit card. Will this be a normal procedure? Dorothy, so we don't actually offer phone support. If you're going to talk on the phone, it's probably going to be with me or John, primarily me, because John just likes sitting back. And we don't offer phone support because we don't want to accidentally get hit with a UPL. That's why even every time I talk with people, if you did talk with me on the phone yesterday or today, you probably heard me say, we're not attorneys, we're not lawyers, this isn't financial or legal advice, yada, yada, yada. And when you call in, you probably called into the webinar voicemail. And that is specifically set up for people who have questions right before they're about to purchase. So that was what you actually went through and why I asked for a credit card. We, like I said, don't really offer phone support. It is a paid thing. It's known as a consultation. It's private. It's not financial or legal advice, but you do actually absolutely have ticket support, email support, all those things, and they can help you just as well. And by the way, everybody, if you call in, we do not charge your card, even though we ask for it. The reason why we charge for your card is I have someone like Mark go through, make notes of everybody. And if someone doesn't leave their credit card information, it just, because we get so many voicemails, it lets me know who's serious and who's not, and who to call back first right away, and who to maybe call back like a week later when I actually get some free time. That's the only reason why. Only once we've answered your questions do we actually charge the card, after we have gotten your commitment. And I usually ask you 2 times. I usually ask you, is it okay that we go through the checkout process? Sometimes I'll do it with you manually. And I'll even ask you before I press that button, is it okay that we charge your card? So that's the only time we do it, when we get your consent. This is all about consent. Everything in this world is consent. What about membership? Member of what organization? Margaret, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but please do rephrase that if you may. Johnny asked, if the grantor doesn't own the assets, how can they grant to the trust anything and assign a trustee? They do own the initial asset they're granted in. That's what they're putting inside the trust. They don't assign the trustees outside of the head trustee, that first one. Robert asked, can a lawyer be a grantor? Yep, absolutely. He's going to do it in his personal capacity. Also, I doubt that a lawyer is going to do that because a lawyer is a prickler. You know, they've all been taught, don't sign anything unless it's to your benefit. Even if you told them just like I told you the spiel earlier, there's no legal liability, there's nothing at all. But if he's willing to do that, he's a good friend. Yeah, he can be a grantor, absolutely. So who records the trust and where are the documents kept? Usually the head trustee keeps everything. And I often, like I said, suggest uploading it in a digital format so that all trustees can access it. And in case there's a fire or a break-in or God knows what happens, we don't know what the future holds, it has a backup. Failty asked, what is the difference between the grantor and creator? Two different names for the same thing. So creator, grantor, all the same. Roland said, I paid for my trust. The website's not recognizing my email. I can't get into my trust. What do I do? Email support. They'll get back with you. Basically, all my support team, unfortunately, is working with me on this webinar right now. So you may not be getting the quick replies that a lot of you I know are used to. So we will, once we're done here, me and the rest of the team are going to be answering everybody's emails that have been coming in as well. While applying for the EIN, Shirley asks, it's asking me to check or not check the following: trust filing as an estate under section 645A as a qualified revocable trust. Again, no, it's not a revocable trust. It's going to be irrevocable. Irrevocable, IR, revocable. Okay? You don't want it to be revocable. And then it says, once the election is made, it cannot be revoked. Do I check this or no? I'm assuming the election they're talking about is of a trustee. You're probably still in the wrong section, because if it's irrevocable, it's understood that it's not. The election cannot be revoked. But even if they ask that, you would just simply say, yes, it cannot be revoked. Okay. Margaret then asked, when you go to the bank to open a trust account, what paper do you have to show since this is all digital? No, you're actually going to print this off, Margaret, and then you're going to take that physical paper there. So the grantor needs to sign it somehow. Even if you get it done via an online notary, like notarize.com, there's a dozen different online notaries, but that's one of my go-tos, but I haven't used them in a while, so they may change up their policies on how they notarize everything. They're going to send everything, the notarization, etc., yada, 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 to you. You print all those forms out and then take that to the bank. So you need something physical at some point.
Hey, Zachary.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, there's a question here that I think we passed, and I want to get it for this individual. It says, if the grantor doesn't own the assets, how can they grant to the trust anything and assign a trustee? I believe you covered it, but maybe just in a quick nutshell, you can help explain that.
Yeah, so in terms of that, the grantor is going to own a pen because you just gave it to them. It's a gift. So that's what they own. We're not talking about them granting in a home or a car or anything like that. It's just something very simple.
Thank you.
Yep.
And another person said something about they're confused because they were told that they can be their own grantor and trustee.
No, and if it says anything like that inside the documents, do let us know. That's not true. You need a different grantor. Like I said, someone not related by blood, family, or relations in that sense.
Excellent. Thank you. Back to you.
Yep. Full asked, can you use the same grantor for different trusts? Yes. Pamela, Okay, sorry, that was towards the group. By the way, Pamela, you don't need someone who's just in the Chicago area like I showed earlier. You can use anyone who's in the group and just mail it to them. And they can sign the first form, and then you sign the second as the trustee. Karen says there was things inside the package that says first 100, 200, 300. Those are just limited as bonuses. But so far, you're okay for those thresholds. I'm just going to let you know. Is a trust better to have than a prenup? Yes. Yes. There's a few of our customers who have even made videos for us who can tell you yes. Yes, yes, yes. In fact, Carlton has one of his favorite stories is telling someone about a guy who was a serial divorcee, and he was on his fourth marriage in 7 years, and he knew this isn't going to end well. You have a type, and that type is a gold digger. So he ended up setting up a trust for him. The woman took him to court. Obviously, she wasn't going to commit penalty of perjury, and he also had recordings. She said in front of the judge, he has everything in the trust. Break the trust and give me what's mine. And they showed in camera the trust to the judge, and the judge came back and just banged on his gavel and said, we have to dismiss this case. The defendant, the husband, is an indigent. He has no money, so therefore you get nothing. That's it. Bye-bye. Rachel said, it's an easy process to add or remove from the trust. Yes. Yes, it is. Whether it's a law or a trustee. Linda, if the natural law trust is stronger than the constitutional, why would we not do that in trust instead? It still is determined under natural trust law. If you actually read through section 1, or I'm sorry, article 1, it is established under natural law, but you want to fall back on constitutional law because it's understood and accepted by the Supreme Courts and even the lower courts. So not every court is going to go, yeah, I agree, natural law, natural law. Well, unfortunately, natural law, and when you're even going to the Supreme Court, they're not judges, they're actually attorneys. None of these people actually sign their oaths of office. That's a little hidden secret. So they all still remain attorneys, which means they have insurance. There's a lot of details inside of that. But the basic idea I'm trying to get here to is that natural law is not written down anywhere. And for an attorney, if it's not written down and it's not in a law, then how do we know how to judge? That's why we use constitutional. I hope that answers it. The Failty says, are there extra fees for our private consultations? Are they included? They are not included. I apologize, but we cannot do that. And you may be hitting the ceiling when you see some of our consultation fees, but if you tried to get a constitutional attorney, they'd be charging you about 2 to 3 times more. And they don't pack in as much detail as I try to within our time. I try and get everything answered for the time that you've given with us. Okay, Melton says, dealing with the teenage car, could we list myself, my wife, and her as trustees and list our trust as beneficiaries? I'm not quite certain if I'm understanding. Hopefully I'm answering this right for you, Melton. But yes, you can do that. The trust can be the beneficiary. My biggest thing, though, is actually have the trust own the car. So that way, if you ever got into an accident or incident, including your teenagers, and your teenagers can be trustees in that trust, they just shouldn't be representing that trust in court because they would be considered incompetent. Not that they aren't smart, but just legally sane.
Zachary, I just want to say something regarding the question that Phil T asked, are there extra fees for our private consultations, or are they included? Folks, just so you understand, we were looking for something that will be very affordable and yet have tremendous value. We were looking for people that we believe would have a good heart and really want to serve and help us. And what we asked them is, look, take this $997, back out all the commissions, all the frills. Let's just get it down, bottom line, raw costs, And actually, we asked for $350. And they said, oh, no, we can't do that after they had their deliberations and came up with $497. We're just looking at it. Give us raw costs, that's going to be something that has teeth, effective. And I think you all can see already the tremendous value that has been represented so far. So absolutely, it doesn't include consultations, but it does also have, what do you call it? The legal consultation, or what was it you mentioned?
Yep, it would be still considered like a private consultation. So it has it's not advice, it's not legal, financial, or anything of that nature.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Okay, so Roland said, I'm a member. How can I download the trust? I did send that little link inside, but the basic idea is click on the document, click on file, click on download, and then download the format that you like, Roland. Elaine said, I purchased, but we will be able to repeat this run through for people who purchase the trust package next week. That's why actually we're recording, Elaine. So that way they have this at any time. So I don't need to even repeat myself. I can actually just have you, I'm covering a lot of questions even here. So I know a lot of these questions may even get repeated. The recording will be available for everybody. So that way they can get all the goodies and benefits. Tracy, are there any fees we're responsible for on the trust? No. Hillary said, is it possible to include that no trustee can spend any funds without approval of the executive trustee? Absolutely. That's what the trust is allowed for. Like I said, I made it a foundation that is really I'm sorry for my loss of words. It's like a stone foundation, the way Carlton made it, in the sense that it can be used in a variety of directions. And then you can add to it to specify different things that you would like it to perform. Stephanie, please explain your inner circle option. That is not available for people actually until they've purchased every product. I hate to say it like that. But once you get into the inner circle, you get hand holding basically, and it costs $25,000. So just so you know. All right. Dorothy, can you call yourself manager instead of trustee? I wouldn't. Trustee is the legal term. And even when you sign things, it needs to be signed Dorothy Charles, trustee without recourse, or TTEE, capitalized. That's just a shortened version for trustee. But you always need to refer to yourself as trustee to be legal. Can we set up an EIN with the virtual address? Yes, you can, JC. Viola said, when I bring the signed trust document to the bank to open the non-interest bearing trust account, am I obligated to tell them they'll be receiving large sums? No. That's why I said keep the chit chat really just about silly things. I like this TV show. Have you ever been to here? Cool. How do you like your job? Great. That's it. Okay, don't banks have their own notaries, asked Rachel. Most of them do. They're not always in 24/7, so do call ahead if possible. Not all banks don't answer their phones. I am very well aware of that. But when possible, make an online appointment and say, I need a notary. So that way you can make sure that they're there. And if you're a member of that bank, they offer it for free to you. Is it okay to use personal initials for a trust name like BJG Investments? Absolutely. Yep. As long as it doesn't sound like it's a name, or a name of a trustee, especially.
Zachary?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is David. In regards to the EIN team, if you're having to get that, which I just did recently, which I paid nothing. So if you are on IRS website, it costs nothing. So if you're paying for an EIN number, then you're in the wrong website. Just remember that, because I found out there was like $250. I was in the wrong freaking place. And I followed exactly what Zachary said and where to go. It costs nothing. Okay, team? So just remember that, irs.com. I mean, where you need to go for that EIN number.
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. You should never be paying anything for an EIN. The only reason you would ever do that is if you're not inside the United States. You need a registered agent to do that. That's the only reason why you would pay. Elaine asked, if you choose someone who is married to be a trustee, their other half does not come along with the package, right? Absolutely. Yep. Nope. Only the person who is assigned as the trustee is the trustee. You don't have to worry about any of that. So no worries. Johnny, when going to the bank to open up a trust account, do you need to have the grantor with you, or can the documents be e-signed before going to the bank? Yep, they can be e-signed. So you don't need to have the grantor with you unless, like I explained kind of a little bit earlier, is you can, if they're in a different state or even a different city and you just don't have time, or they're across the street and you just never have the same schedules, send it over to him. He can go get the first notarization. You go the second time, there'll be another notary who will also notarize it, just so that, again, there's a paper trail going, Johnny did sign this. I have proof. And then the grantor, whatever his name is, will say, John Doe, I know he signed it because I saw his government ID. That's what a notary's there for. So, Bonita said, can all trustees have a debit card for different purposes to work with? The debit card's still going to be linked to a single bank account, but inside of that, you can pass, you can write in a bylaw after the initial trust has been created as the head trustee before you add any other trustees, and say, the second trustee, Mary Doe, is going to be given a debit card and she can only use it for these types of purchases. So you can, again, get down to very nitty gritty specifics and say, this is only what you're allowed to do. I hope that makes sense. Cheryl said, if we purchase the trust right now, do we have to fill it out right now? Nope. Take your time, go through it, understand it. You only need to fill it out if you're getting money very quickly and you need it very quickly. I like to say it like this. Even though we give you the trustee secrets first, because we want you to be a knowledgeable trustee before you even create the trust, you're going to have time. You're going to have time to learn how to operate the trust. Even if it's just a few weeks, that's enough time to go through and understand what's happening. So you can put the cart before the horse, as they say, and still be okay. Margaret said, do I need to be a member of FFG since I was with the Millionaires group? Margaret, in order to get more help, I believe Cola is going to be asking people who, of course, have shaken hands with his attorneys, bank account, etc. But the discount is offered to everybody within this group right now. Regarding personal help, etc., and how Cola will help you and the other coaches and advisors, I cannot say.
Well, actually, everybody, put it this way. The only people who should be on here right now are people who were members of the Millionaires Group and are now all members of FFG. So consequentially, if you're in here and you're asking this question on this webinar, it's because you were invited from our database of people who were members of the Millionaire Club. That is, your bank account shook hands with our bank account. So first phase was the Millionaires Club. Second phase right now is FFG, disbursement fit stage, financial freedom group. So that's what you're involved in. If you actually were invited directly from an email by us. Thanks, Zachary.
Yeah, thank you for answering that, Cola. Huberman asked, is natural law the same as common law? No, they're not. Like you even stated, common law operates from jurisprudence precedents. So basically, common law is established due to rulings that have been worked out over basically, it goes back a far ways, but we'll say easily the last 600 years. Natural law never changes. Like I said, it's like gravity. You know, you can fight it, you can deny it, you can try and explain it, but it still operates the same way. Hillary asked, if executive trust wants to buy my children's houses and cars, how can I go about doing that without penalty? If you want to buy the homes, as long as they're not trustees, you can do that without any fraudulent conveyance issues. If they are, I would just suggest having the children put their houses and their cars in their own trust that they serve as trustees for. That's the best. Reggie, that 25K is for inner circle. There's a lot of things we can't talk about out here. Like I said, you have to buy all the products in order to even get invited into inner circle. And then once you have that, it's kind of like you're educated enough for us to take you into what'll seem like, for lack of a better word, magical things that the elites do that we're just literally not supposed to be putting into the public realm. Because if we did, we'd get more than a legal target on our back. We'd probably get a red dot on our heads. But that's what that's all about. Hillary, can the bank question your trust? What kind of trust? How much money will be in the trust, etc.? Can we refuse this information? They're not going to ask those things. And if they did, you would go, that's unfortunately private. Is it required? And the things that they're going to be asking is, what do you expect for money to come in? And you can always lowball it. More can always happen. You know, if they said, what kind of trust? You're just going to say an irrevocable private trust. If they ask how much money's coming in, you just go, I don't know. So just put the lowest amount right now and we'll figure out later. Things like that. Bank of America tends to do that and Chase does too, but it's not like they're doing it for, you know, ulterior motives or reasons. They're just doing it so that they can understand what type of client you're going to be. That's basically it. Tamara, so the trust, the way it is written, takes the place of a will. So remove section 7.07 and it makes it an operational trust that I can transact with. That is correct, Tamara. That is correct. You remove that section so that you can operate in the public realm in any way you see fit. Sharon Gray said, where do I start printing for the actual document? Download it first and edit it because it's not actually blanks. It's going to be a find and replace. We made it like that so that it's really easy to just replace everything in the document and you're not hunting for the blank spaces and trying to second guess yourself going, what do I put there? Is it my name? Is it some? That's why we did it like that. So do download the digital version first, then print it once it's all filled. Roland, I know you can't find the links to download the document. Hopefully just send in a support ticket and they'll send you an image that'll show you how to do that. I know everyone will have the ability to do that because thousands of people have done it before you. So it's probably just...
And Zachary, if I can just add this for Roland, is if you are a member of WPA, which means you paid the $497, then the video, what we did today, shows you exactly what link to click. And you're going to click file and you're going to click download and you're going to download it. It's really, really very simple. Okay. Yep. Those are some things that down the road we'll probably even do during some of our webinars. But for now, it's all right there because he started from scratch, from the very top, from the bottom to the bottom. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hillary asked, is it advisable to put a large sum of money into one trust fund? It's up to you. I would say not all your eggs in one basket. If that's all the money you have and it's a lot, divvy it up between a few. That's what the Rothschilds, the Windsors, they all do that. They don't put everything in one bucket. And if they did, your eyes would pop out at some of the numbers. One of my favorites was Queen Elizabeth II. She has a trust named Lucifer's Light Trust. That thing has so many zeros inside that bank account that if she withdrew that money, it would collapse the entire world economy. I kid you not. I've seen some trusts with amounts of money that are enormous, and even still, they divvy up their money between tons of different trusts. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Jemmer said, can we share and refer your service to others? Absolutely, Jemmer. I hope you can see my screen right at the bottom. It says become an affiliate. Just click on that button. You'll be able to sign up, fill in your information. We do ask for your SSN and all that stuff. All that is just so that we know who's who, and there's no, because we have super affiliates, we want to make sure that the checks get sent out to the right people. But you'll be able to get your affiliate links, all that stuff. And once you have that, we'll ship you your checks from the people that you refer. All your links, all your information will be right inside of there. In fact, I'll quickly walk through that and just show you what that looks like. So you'll just click here, become an affiliate now. You're going to fill out this whole form right here. I actually don't have my logins with me, but needless to say, on the other end of this portal, you're going to be able to access all of your links right from there. Okay. Reggie says, I want to have you on my TV station. Reach out to support and we can get that set up. John has me go everywhere as an ambassador, so he'll be the one you'll probably be talking with or something like that. All right. Viola, does your services extend to Canada? Yes, it does. Lawful money is used in Canada, but it operates under the Canadian Banking International Law, I believe it is, or International Act. I know it's talked about a little bit inside of lawful money. That's the biggest thing that really doesn't extend to Canada, although it kind of does. The reason why is Canada has its own different little IRS system, and they're not as familiar because you don't have as large of a population and as many elites living in Canada as there are inside of America. So I hope that answers that question. Rachel, can you save your inputted information if you don't have time to complete it at one time? Yep, that's why you download it. Just press Control S or Command S. That's the shortcut for saving. Karen says, do we need an EIN before we download the trust? Nope, you can do one or the other. Okay, and it says, for multiple trusts from Hillary, is it advisable to use one bank or multiple banks? If you have multiple trusts, you would want multiple banks if you're trying to divvy up the money and have it accessible as a currency. For those of you who are actually doing a lot of money, you know, getting hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, like I said yesterday, I'm going to repeat this. This is just great advice, something that Carlton gave to me way back when I knew him a decade ago. Put all your money into silver. All your money into silver. I did that, and just this year, I have tripled my investment. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to do that in the future. It is an investment, which means it can go down at times. Silver is to make money. Gold is to fight against inflation. That's all those two things are there for. I can't advise you on other commodities or metals, but those are the two rules that the elites use. They buy silver in order to make a lot of money. They buy gold so that way it's not kept in a fiat currency like every currency is in the world, and so that they can fight off inflation with gold. That's what that's there for. I hope that makes sense. I think that we have gotten through all of the questions so far, so I'm happy to say that. I'm going to go through a few last ones right here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen once again. Okay, so these are the ones from yesterday. Does this product come by mail or web only? It comes by web. After the trust is made, where is it kept or registered? It's going to be kept physically, and then I suggest uploading it online. Some of the pledges are people living in other countries. Are there similar trusts in other countries? Yes, there is. I explained that also, I hope, yesterday. The problem that we have ran into is from Mexico, Poland. I'm sure there's other countries where a lot of, whether you believe it or not, even Poland has very large drug cartels. I guess it's for methamphetamines or something like that. But they actually block trusts from being able to get bank accounts. That does not mean that you cannot still have a trust. It's just that you will not be able to have a trust bank account. Just be aware of that. Canada, UK, those are okay because a lot of elites operate out of those countries, especially the UK and out of America. They're always going to allow trust bank accounts. Zachary, will we get an 800 number for customer support? No. Unfortunately, like I said, we cannot do that for you. And then someone said, may I put my car registered in Mexico into a trust? Absolutely. Number 6, can the trustee spend money on himself without having to do business? Yes, he can. Like I said, just come up with, pardon my language, a half-ass reason to even spend that money, and that's a good enough reason. It's not like anyone even may probably see any of the reasons why, but we're just trying to stay above board so that there's always a paper trail for every single transaction. So you can't be said that you were a negligent trustee in the eyes of the court. And it's not like they can remove you, but it's just keeping everything above board. 7, what are the reasons a trust would get sued? Kind of like I explained earlier, you get into a car accident. That is the biggest reason why any of our students have ever been sued. You got into a car accident, it was your fault. Thankfully, the trust owned the car, so they can really only sue the trust. And even if they try and sue you in your personal capacity, usually the home, your money, and everything else is inside of another trust. So you're all set. Number 8, will your trustees have access to retrieving money from your trust? Not usually. They're not going to be given a debit card, as I said earlier in this meeting, and they also will not have banking rights or privileges. Usually only the head trustee has that because their name's the only one on the account. Also, does your trustees need to know what is in your trust? They're going to know. They're going to know because they have access to all the records. So that's why I say you got to trust the trustees a little bit. Number 9, do you pay taxes on a house that's in a trust? Yes, you do. That's what Real Estate Secrets is for. That's a whole other topic. And it has to do with land patents, allodial title, and a whole bunch of other things. It's such a large, expansive program that we just couldn't cover inside of that. So that's a separate program, separate purchase. Question 1 is, can you elaborate on how a legitimate 50-year-old plus church organization can utilize this? The best thing would probably be found inside of Elite Tax Secrets, which would be turning a 501c3 into a 508c1a, which goes from a state-run church into a free church. And the pros and cons of that is, if your church has ever spoken something that's against the MO or the natural prerogative of what a government says, for example, the government now says you can't discriminate by calling a boy or a girl, or, you can't speak out against homosexuality or these things. Now, those are life choices. I honestly don't care how you run your life as long as it doesn't affect mine. But the government does care what you say. You're not allowed to be political. You're not allowed to support a specific political person or someone who's running for office. You're not allowed to speak against homosexuality, transgenderism, or any sorts of things like that if you are a state-run church 501c3. If you're a 508c1a, you can do anything you want. It's the true separation of church and state, which, of course, unfortunately, most of America has forgotten about. Number 11, what if you already have a trust? It's probably not this trust, so call me a salesperson, but get our trust. Number 12, when I put my apartment building or rental property, is the income from renters non-taxable inside the trust? No, it's not. It is taxable because it is technically an income, but there's 2 ways to avoid this issue. Number 1, pay out everything to yourself as trustee as a wage. Or number 2, the trust can accept the money in lawful money via lawful money redemption, which is talked about in section 4. I know a lot of you don't have that unlocked yet, but like I said, I'm trying to avoid that topic because once you read over everything, it is a quote unquote boring read. A lot of people complain about that. We are so thorough in our Supreme Court cases because we want you to understand that there's literally been 50 plus Supreme Court cases saying, yes, lawful money is a law. It is accepted. Here's why. And then it's really easy to do. It's about how you sign it. It just takes a couple lines. And some people just buy the programs just to understand lawful money secrets. Where's the 508 going to be drafted? That's inside Elite Tax Secrets. It's not available inside Bulletproof Trust because it is a wholly separate thing. A lot of different things go inside of it. And it's something that we just can't teach. You know, we can't teach you everything for $497 or even $997. If I can validate this, Carlton used to charge about $15,000 to teach you even half of these things back in the day. Number 14, what if you just want lawful money secrets and real estate secrets? You'd buy them. Star 55 was a good one. I purchased the package without the coupon code the other day. May I get the discount? Yes. Can I add packages I skipped over? No. If you're going to buy the package and you want the discounts that are being offered, which are usually from anywhere from 50 to 70% off their regular prices, you have to buy them right then and there. That's called an impulse buy. We do that for a reason. You may not like it, but if you want to buy the packages later, they will go up in price and you'll have to pay full price. That's just how it works. 16 in Google, a question is asked if you can spend money from an irrevocable trust. The answer is the trustee of an irrevocable trust can only withdraw money to use for the benefit of the trust according to the terms set by the grantor. Yes, that's exactly why we have it set in terms that as long as you can have just a haphazard reason why you're spending that, even if it's to buy clothes for yourself as trustee, you're saying the trust is helping me in this form for that reason. The question goes on, like dispersing income to beneficiaries or paying maintenance costs and never for personal use. By personal use, they mean you can't go out and buy a car and then put that car in your name. If you go and buy the car and you put it in the trust name, that's for trust purposes. Hopefully you can understand that. That's the mindset change I was talking about yesterday when I went through the program. I said the biggest thing that people need to change is their mindset. Okay, and number 17, does the online membership agreement have to be filled out before logging in? We suggest it. It has to be filled out within a certain time period or you actually get locked out of your account. That's just, again, there to protect us. So we're not getting hit with UPLs. 18, if you already have a trust, how can you bulletproof it or add it to your bulletproof trust? You can't, because once an irrevocable trust has been established, that foundation has been laid. You would have to rip up the foundation and start anew. So you have to restart with our bulletproof trust, unfortunately. Now you can transfer those assets in exchange for things, you know, hey, trust A that isn't bulletproof is going to exchange everything in for one capital interest certificate. And just like that, you exchanged everything over. Now, if those assets are registered with the county, for example, a car, a home, then you're going to need to change those names over as well. Hope that makes sense. Number 19, the grantor does not have any legal route to the assets. That is correct. That's known as non-reverter privileges. So you cannot revert it. When setting up an EIN, do you have to state what for? Yes, just like we walked through today. And could trustees be family members? Yes, they can. Number 22, do you have to have two trustees in order to open a trust account with Chase? If yes, what do you do to keep your business private? Okay, so yes, with Chase, they do require two trustees. I explained that yesterday a little bit. And that was so with trust, they understand because Chase Manhattan has a lot of well-to-do elites and wealthy individuals who even wouldn't be considered in the inner circle of the elites. They understand that the way these trusts are usually created is very private, and they're not going to be able to get a hold of who the beneficiary is. Sometimes they're not going to be able to understand who the other trustees are. So they need two trustees and an address so that way they can contact somebody in the hopes that if, you know, for some reason they need to close the account for any purpose, that they can actually send a check somewhere to the person that they're supposed to, and they're not legally liable. Because imagine sending a $100 million check to someone and it goes to the wrong person. Uh-oh, you just lost $100 million and you're liable for it as Chase Manhattan. So that's why they do that. To answer the second part, if yes, what do you do to keep your business private? Once a business is in the public operating, it's kind of public. The privacy that you actually have is the fact that not everybody knows who's behind that trust that's operating. But the people who interact with that business as a second or third party will, of course, know who one of the trustees are at least. So you can't be 100% private. Section 3 will explain that to you. That should open up for you today or tomorrow. 23, if you want to buy a house and all funds are in the trust, do I need the other trustee to sign off to release my funds? If so, where's the privacy? Well, like I said, the trustee is going to know what's going on. So you need to trust another trustee a little bit. As head trustee, as I explained a little earlier, you can write in, I can never be, removed from the board of trustees as head trustee, and then put your name, John Doe, Mary Joe, whatever it is. But them signing off is really just the idea of when you make a big purchase, you want to have everybody in agreement. You can still, don't quote me on this one, but I'm pretty still sure that since you're the only, pardon me, I just need a drink of water to clear my throat. You just need, I apologize. You just need to have those, the head trustee will have access to the bank account, the debit card, etc. So they can still do things because they're really the only ones who have access to it. But you just want to get a sign off just in case. So at the end of the day, the board of trustees should agree. But even if the board of trustees didn't agree, then you could, end up going behind their backs in a sense and buying the home and yada, yada. As long as you've written off, they can't kick me off as head trustee. 24, can the trust be sued? I did actually answer that today. Car accidents, someone gets injured, things like that. Fraudulent conveyances. Those are the main reasons why. 25, can you share pros and cons for a church or a not-for-profit organization? Yeah, the pros are, if you actually are a religious organization, then you can take donations, you can give tax deductions, you can get what's known as your homestead property removed from the tax roll, which means no real estate property taxes. Now, 508s sometimes do have an issue with doing this through the Secretary of State, but with enough finagling and enough time, you can eventually get that removed as well. Hope that makes sense. For cons, I don't really see any cons if you actually are a religious organization. If you're not a religious organization, you know what the con is? 10 to 15 years in jail. 26, how many board members are there? We suggest 3. Can grantor be trusted? You don't need to trust the grantor. As I explained, no reverter privileges. 28, who is manager for a trust? The trustees are. 29, do I have to file a 1041 every year on the trust? If it has income and you didn't redeem the money in lawful money, then yes, there would be some income. But you can reduce your tax liability, like I said, for that trust by paying yourself a certain wage. That is a non-taxable event. And you can also redeem in lawful money, which creates avoids the taxable events known as the income tax. 30, if a couple is married and you only trust one to be the trustee, can you choose just that one? Yep. The trustee is the trustee. Their spouses are not trustees. What's the difference between the grantor and board members? I hope I explained that today. 32, so we all need to have a board of trustees, at least 3 of us. It's suggested that you do that. You can have just one. All right, we have a few final ones, and I'm going to close up. I've been going for almost 3 hours. I know a lot of people are tired. I hope it's been beneficial for all of you. So it says, can I use the same EIN at 2 different banks? Yes, you can, as long as it's for the same trust. How do I buy silver, says Linda? Just go on and say buy silver inside of Google. You can buy silver from eBay. You can buy silver in massive amounts from silver dealers such as JM Bullion is the one I suggest. That's who I bought all of my bullion from, my silver. You can get it at slightly discounted prices. And by slightly, I mean 1% to 2%, which if you buy, $200,000, $300,000 in silver, that's a nice little savings. And their buybacks are also some of the best that I've ever found. They basically always meet market prices. So when you type in price of silver right now and it says 28.63, JM Bullion's probably buying it back for 28.61. Hope that helps. What's the code again? Thank you. It is FFG, Monica. FFG, the group that you are in. Yep. Okay. Admin Casey already said that. Dorothy said, if I'm currently going through a divorce, is there any way to find out if my spouse has a trust? He would have had to actually tell you. If he didn't tell you, goodness, I think Carlton actually talks about this in Trustee Secrets. But if he didn't tell you that he had a trust, there's still a way to actually pierce that trust simply because he didn't tell you that everything was in a trust. It's kind of like a, I don't want to speak out of turn, but it's a form of fraudulent conveyance. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but if he hasn't informed you, there's definitely prevalence from other court cases that trust can be pierced for that reason. That's why I keep telling people, even with the Bulletproof Trust, let your spouses know everything that I have that's mine is in this Bulletproof Trust. I'm indigent. I don't own anything. And like I said, get that recorded one time. Just, having them say, okay, or I understand, or what, just even something like that. You told them, they heard, they know. The question for the $25,000 subscription, is that a one-time fee? No, it's actually yearly. So again, like I said, I'm hitting the roof with a lot of people probably thinking about that. But at the end of the day, we're literally giving you breaking information on what we deal with when we brush shoulders with certain elite families. We're usually kept under DNCs, do not disclose, but there's certain things after time passes that we're giving you, and that's why you're paying that yearly subscription. Okay, I think that's it. That's all the questions that we've had. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this presentation. I'm glad that I've been able to answer all the questions and go through everything. With that being said, we're here for you, to support you, and give you everything that you need to be successful. Coach Cola, I'm handing it right back to you.
Wow, talk about above the call of duty. Thank you very much, Zachary. This has been just totally awesome, totally incredibly educational, and the energy and the presence of mind that you bring to it and the humility you bring to it is noteworthy. And folks, I just want to also let you know that, one reason I appreciate Zachary and his team is when we try to find an exclusive deal, they didn't even tell us only if you get so many people. I was expecting that, but they didn't. That is awesome. Totally awesome. So what I would suggest everybody is this. We'll get the videos to you. Take some time, do the homework, watch the video, download the document, and start filling it out. The next time we bring Zachary on board, it's going to make a whole lot more sense when actually you're looking at what you've already created and making corrections and making modifications than the way it is. It has been today. But we've had tremendous information there, videos in the back office too. And Zachary, I will be talking to you tomorrow. Some things I need to share with you that's also going to really help us and help you guys too. So thank you very much, everybody. And we'll let you go, Zachary. You're the one who's been doing all the talking.
I thank you for giving me all this time. Like I said, we've been here for 3.5 hours, so it's been great. And we'll close up the final loops in people's minds that they, are going to probably have once they get a little bit deeper into the materials. I look forward to it.
Yes, I will be talking to you tomorrow, and we'll set the next time.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guy. Bye-bye now. Okay, so does anybody else have, wow, 3.5 hours. What an amazing guy. Anybody else has anything else to share on the team here before we close for the day so we can go and do our homework?
All I can say was that this was amazing. I mean, when he said 3.5 hours, I said, no way. No way. This wasn't only like 2 hours. No, my goodness, it's 6:30. Well, when the information is good and it's something that has our interest and something we can put to life within our own, our own lives, then yeah, we can't get enough of that. So yeah, I think it was awesome. This was great.
It's very true. David, Mary Lou, anything you got? And I want to also thank those of you who have been sharing gratitude to us, okay, for resourcing this and putting this together. You give us the unction, you give us the energy, and we're here for you because we're in this together. We're a family, and we ain't seen nothing yet as far as the amazing things that God's gonna do for us. It's not us. It's not by power, not by might, but by His Spirit. That's why we're having all the amazing favor, unmerited favor, undeserved favor, unearned favor, unprecedented favor that we've been having, and it will continue. I guarantee you that. Okay, anybody else? David, Mary Lou, before we adjourn till tomorrow evening at 6 p.m.
Yeah, Coach, after maybe a few days of going through the information that we just received, and I mean, there's a lot of it, but we can, I think, make it simpler for all of us if we, I think, maybe took the time. I don't know what you thought, maybe doing like a Zoom, like on a Saturday sometime, like maybe in the morning, well, in the morning here, maybe 9 or 10. And maybe in the mid-afternoon for some of the people that really want to get into this, and maybe go through it as a team. What do you think? I mean, just the information I got today with the the EIN, I thought it was going to be hard to get. I never got one, but today, because of this program, I went ahead and got it. So if we did it as a team and went through it together, on a Zoom call, I think it would be beneficial for all of us. What would you think, Coach?
Well, I think at our briefing tomorrow at 1 p.m., the leadership briefing, we can explore, we can do a debrief on what has happened so far and explore what we do moving forward. I think that would be the best forum for us to do that. It's a great idea.
Absolutely, Coach. I mean, to help the family. I think that's another F that we have to put in there. Is family, and I think that's who we are here. And and I'm just very happy that I'm part of this family as well. This great team.
Thank you, David. Anybody else? Queen Marilu, do you have any question? Anything you want to add? And we thank Kahanu also for her help that she, with the Zoom platform here. And so hearing nothing.
I got something.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for this platform. It is absolutely amazing. And I'm sure that I can speak for the 168 that are left on here, that we have so much information in our heads that it's actually blowing our minds. So we really, really thank you from the bottom of our hearts. But I do have one thing to say with regards. There are still a lot of people who are unable or finding it difficult to sign on to this meeting. What we have to remember is that Mary Lou sent you guys an invitation that you had to register. And then the registration gave you a confirmation email. You must enter the meeting through your confirmation email. And also you have to also be logged into your Zoom. So just a little bit house cleaning on that. If you are unable to enter through that, that means that you are not logged into Zoom. And Mary Lou said yesterday that she is not allowing those with phone numbers to be in. So I would encourage you to click on your email from your phone and then click on your link to be able to enter the meeting. That's it for me, guys. Back to you, Coach.
Yes, the thing is that you absolutely, if you've never registered your personal Zoom, portal on your phone or on your PC, go ahead and register. It's free. I've had four Zoom platforms for the last 5 years. I've never paid a dime on all of them, and I use them for different things. It's free. So register, and then when you're gonna sign in, make sure you're using the same email that you gave us in your in the spreadsheet when you filled out our forms on bundle 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Use that same email. That's going to make it easy for you to just pop in like that. And when she sends you that confirmation, it shows all the different days. And at the bottom, it says click here to join. So whichever day it is, it's that same one link. You're going to click on it to join, and you're going to be able to get on. As long as you have registered and activated your free account on Zoom.us, okay, and you're using the same email, okay, that we use to send it to you, to send you the information, then you'll be okay. But I am very gratified that we have had more people on our webinars ever since we instituted this particular protocol. So that's wonderful. That's a ton of people get it, and a ton of people are getting through. So if you're not getting through, please check those things out. Check out what's happening with your computer. Maybe something preventing you from your computer. But if we have more than 345 people on this thing, it's more than what we ever had when we didn't have registration. So the registration has not restricted anything. The attendance has gone up, and is even going to go further up as we go along down the road here. Okay.
And Coach, in regarding to this, we have to remember as well, you have to be also the recipient of you sending the money to the bank as well, to Marilu or to Ivan, to be part of this group. So if you were part of a group that you sent it to a person to send, then you won't be allowed to come in, unfortunately, because this is only for the people that actually had sent the money to. Am I correct, Coach, on that?
Yeah, well, those are the only people, like I was saying, that should have even been on this webinar.
That's correct.
Because the only way that we were able to invite you is because you were a member and you had filled out the questionnaires. Now, if you are one of those 1, 2, 3, or 4 people who never completed it, chances are maybe you're sitting out in limbo. Though that's why we spent so many days trying to get people to go ahead and get this done. And there's so much more that we're going to be able to do, folks. There's so much more we're going to be able to do moving forward. God willing, when the mega deal closes, and that's looking very good. Mike is excited about it. Everybody is moving right along. So that's basically all we got for you guys today. And have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. Okay, you got to enter through the confirmation email that you received. All right? Anybody else? Is that it?
That's it. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.